Good morning, students. Today we will see the second chapter, Forms of Business Organization. We have seen different forms of business organizations like sole trading concern, partnership, joint stock companies, cooperative stores. Okay, now we'll see that one by one. First one, it is sole proprietorship. So when you say sole, you know it is one. So it is the business run by one person alone. So normally the shops which we are seeing is sole proprietorship. Only one person is running the business. There is only one owner. He may have workers, but owner is only one. So sole proprietorship refers to a form of business organization which is owned, managed, and controlled by an individual who is the recipient of all profits and bearer of all the risk. Coming to the features of sole proprietorship, first one it is formation and closure. So in case of sole trading concern, to form a sole trading concern is not at all a difficult task. The legal formalities involved is very much less. That it is not compulsory that sole trading concern has to be registered. Okay, so it makes sole trading concern very easy to form. Likewise, closure also. If the sole trader feels that he cannot run the business or he wants to wind up the business or close the business, in that case also he can do it very easily. So hardly any legal formalities are required to start a sole proprietary business, though in some cases one may require license. There is no separate law that governs sole proprietorship. Closure of the business can also be done easily. Next one, liability. Liability, you know what is the meaning of liability. Already we have learned the term liability in accountancy. So in case of sole trading concern, his personal assets also will be taken to pay off all the debts. In case there is any debt for a sole trading concern, in that case his personal assets will also be taken to pay off the debt. That means he will be having unlimited liability. So sole proprietors have unlimited liability. This implies that the owner is personally responsible for payment of debt in case of assets of the business are not sufficient to meet all the debt. So even after taking the business property or business asset, in that case his personal assets also will be taken to pay off the debt. Next one, sole risk bearer and profit recipient. So he is only one person to bear all the risk, and all the profit he is earning, it goes to him alone. He need not share it to anyone else. Next one, control. He is the only person who is controlling the business. The right to run the business and make all decisions lies absolutely with the sole proprietor. He can carry out his plans without any influences from others. Whatever he feels like doing, he can do it in his concern. Next one, no separate entity. That means he and his business are considered as one person in case of business studies, but when we saw it in accountancy, from the point of view of accounting, businessman and the entity are different. So in the eyes of the law, no distinction is made between the sole trader and his business, as business does not have an identity separate from the owner. Next one, lack of business continuity. In case if anything happens to the owner, the business comes to an end. Maybe a death, or he is unable to do the business. If no one else is there to carry on his business, then his business comes to an end. Since the owner and the business are one and the same, death, insanity. Insanity means mentally not fit. Imprisonment of sole proprietor will have a direct and detrimental effect on the business and may even cause closure of the business. So if no one else is there to carry on the business, then his business comes to an end. Coming to the merits of sole proprietorship. First one, it is quick decision making. So as we saw before, since he is the only person, since he is the only one person and it is his own business, in the case whatever he feels he can do in his firm, and in case of taking decisions, he need not consult with anyone else. So whatever he feels right in his business, he can do it. So quick decision making is possible in case of sole trading concern. Next one, confidentiality of information. He need not share his decisions or opinions or ideas or any secrets with anyone else because he is the only person in the business. Sole decision making authority enables the proprietor to keep all the information related to the business operation confidential and maintain secrecy. A sole trader is also not bound by law to publish firm's accounts. Next one, direct incentive. So if he works hard, he is the person who is receiving the profit. So a sole proprietor directly reaps the benefit of his or her effort as he or she is the sole recipient of all the profit. Next one, sense of accomplishment. So in case of a sole trading concern, since he is the only person, since he is investing the money alone in the business and he is working hard in the business, we have a sense of satisfaction. So there is a personal satisfaction involved in working for oneself. The knowledge that one is responsible for the success of the business not only contributes the self-satisfaction but also instills in the individual a sense of accomplishment and confidence in one's ability. So we know that if we work hard, we will reap more profit. So it is something different from an employment. If we are working for others, we won't be doing like that. But when we are doing for us alone, then we'll work hard. Next one, ease of formation and closure. The same point which we saw in features. There is no much formalities in case of sole trading concern or sole proprietorship. It is very easy to form and also close the business. Next, coming to the limitations of sole proprietorship. First one, it is limited resources. In case of sole trading concern, since he is the only person, the resources available will be limited. In case of partnership, there are more than one person to contribute. In case of joint stock company, you have so many shareholders to contribute, but in case of sole trading concern, there is only one person to contribute for the business. Next one, limited life of business concern. Again, it's the same thing which we saw in the features, lack of business continuity. If anything happens to the owner, the business comes to an end. Next one, unlimited liability. Also, we saw it before. In case there is any debt for the business, any liability for the business, his personal assets will also be taken in case business asset is not enough to pay off the debts. Next one, limited managerial ability. So, however efficient a person is, there will be a limitation for the ability of a person. So, he may not know all the areas of the business. There is a limitation for that. So, here in case of sole trading concern, since there is only one person, the managerial ability will be limited. Next, coming to joint Hindu family business. A best example for this type of businesses, normally we are not seeing this now because joint family itself is disappearing now. It is only a very rare case where we can see this joint Hindu family. Okay, so when there is no joint Hindu family, then how there will be joint Hindu family business? But a best example which I can tell you is, I don't know how many of you have seen it, a Malayalam movie, Kathanayakan. The hero is Jairam and the heroine is Divya Unni. Okay, I don't know how many of you have seen. That film is a best example for this joint Hindu family business. Now we'll see what it is. It refers to the form of organization wherein the business is owned and carried on by the members of Hindu undivided family. Coming to the features. First one, it is formation. For a joint Hindu family business, there should be at least 2 members in the family and ancestral property to be inherited by them. The business does not require any agreement as membership is by birth. It is governed by the Hindu Succession Act 1956. So, whoever is the member of joint Hindu family business, they will become the member of this joint Hindu family, they will become the member of joint Hindu family business. Next, it is liability. The liability of all members except the Karta is limited to their share of co-partnery property of the business. The Karta, however, has unlimited liability. Those who have seen the film, you would have seen that old person. The eldest person in the family is called Karta, and all the others, they are called co-partners. So only the Karta will be having unlimited liability, and co-partners, all the other members, will be having only limited liability. So the liability of all the members except Karta is limited to their share of co-partnery property of the business. The Karta, however, has unlimited liability. Next one, control. So all the decisions will be taken only by the Karta. The control of the family business lies with the Karta. He takes all the decision and is authorized to manage the business. His decisions are binding on the other members. Next one, continuity. In case of joint Hindu family business, if the eldest person, anything happens to him, the next eldest person will become the Karta of the business. Next one, so there is continuity in the business. Next one, minor members. The inclusion of an individual into business occurs by birth in Hindu undivided family. Hence, minors also can be the members of the business. Coming to the merits. First one, it is effective control. The Karta has absolute decision-making power. This avoids conflict among members as no one can interfere with his right to decide. This also leads to prompt and flexible decision making. So here it is only one person who is taking the decision, even though this point comes under merits. Another point under limitations we have, since he is the only person who is taking the decision, it may affect the business or other members also, because he is not consulting or discussing with others when he is taking a decision. Whatever he is taking or whatever he is deciding will be the final decision. Next one, continued business existence. This point also we saw. If anything happens to the Karta, the next eldest person will become the Karta of the business. Next one, limited liability of members. The liability of all the members or all the co-partners except the Karta is limited to the share in the business, and consequently their risk is well defined and precise. Next, increased loyalty and cooperation. As we saw, sense of accomplishment. The same thing is here. Since it is our own business, we will be very much interested in the welfare, or we can say growth of the business. Since the business is run by the members of a family, there is a greater sense of loyalty towards one another. Pride in the growth of the business is linked to achievements of the family. This helps in securing better cooperation from all the members. Next one, limitations of joint Hindu family business. First one, it is limited resources. Even though there are so many members in the joint Hindu family business, the resources which are taken for the business is only the inherited property. Ancestral property alone is taken for the business. That is why it is given limited resources. The joint Hindu family business faces the problem of limited capital as it depends mainly on ancestral property. This limits the scope for expansion of business. Next one, unlimited liability of Karta. Already we saw only Karta is having unlimited liability and the others they are having only limited liability. Next one, dominance of Karta. When we saw merits, there we saw that it is effective control since Karta is taking the decision. But now see here, dominance of Karta. The Karta individually manages the business, which may at times may not be acceptable to others. This may cause conflict among them and may even lead to breakdown in the family unit. Next one, limited managerial skill. Again, since the Karta is the only person who is taking the decision, he is not discussing with others. Here also managerial skill is very much limited. So since the Karta cannot be an expert in all the areas of management, the business may suffer as a result of his unwise decision. His inability to decide effectively may result into poor profits or even losses for the organization. So we'll stop with this today. You can write down all the side headings in your notebook and learn up to this.